Hi everybody. Welcome to Quarter Inch Seam. I'm Angela and welcome to my sewing room on a glorious, it's Sunday. When you see this, it'll either be Sunday or Monday. And you can hear Steve's out digging in the yard, playing in the yard, mowing something, digging something, and so you probably hear the tractor going, which actually I love. Somebody once said, oh, you know, we can hear that in the background. You know what? I hope you can hear it because I love it, especially on such a beautiful spring weekend. But I will tell you this, my allergies and my sinuses are on fire right now, so I'm quite congested. Now, what are we going to do today? So I hope you have your stuff. I am so just, you know how you just find the perfect top? It's just the perfect temperature. I'm so comfortable today. Hi, Minnie. Minnie had to come in. I don't know. Can you see her? Minnie, come here. No? Okay. All right. Do your thing. Whatever. Okay, so what are we going to do today? I talked about it last week, and I don't think I showed the fabric last week. I don't remember if I did or not. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. So we're working on the rag quilt, and a bunch of you had some fantastic suggestions on the rag quilt. And so I did go back and get more fabric. So I did spend a good portion of the morning today trying to create a little bit of order in this sewing room. I really did. And I did. And I did get some done. I did make some order. I did make a little bit of clean. A little bit of tidy. That's what I like. I like a little tidy. This right now, this chaos, oh God. It's awful. It's making my OCD just... Anyway, okay, so back to the rag quilt. So the front of the rag quilt, I don't remember. I don't think I showed this last week. Whatever. Who cares? This is the front. This is the back. It's very plain. It is. And I was in Joann's yesterday and I was like, oh, maybe I should do like I made the mistake of looking at somebody else's rag quilt on the internet and on YouTube or wherever, and or the Facebook. I don't think you're supposed to say that here. That one with the F and the B, that one. And she had done this really cute rag quilt, and you know, the diagonal rows were kind of different fabrics, and it was all coordinating, and it was so cute. And I just have these butterflies and purple on the back. But that's what you know what? That's how I envisioned it in my head. I just wanted something that would be comfy to just throw on when you're sitting on the couch reading a book or watching a movie, which I never have time to do anyway, so I don't know what it matters, but nonetheless. So when I started, I had my front, so these are 8-inch squares. I had my front fabric, the butterflies, and my back fabric, the purple. And then in the middle, I didn't have any other flannel that I had enough of. And I didn't want it to show, you know, in the rag. Anyway, so somebody had once told me that you can just do a piece of batting in the middle, right? So I had a piece of batting and then flannel on the front and the back. So the flannel squares are 8 inches. And the batting square was, I think I did it like 7 inches. But then I was waiting for a couple of you to comment, because some of you are so way smarter than I am. And some of you said, it may have been Becky. Hi, Becky. Had said, you know, you can just do, if you don't want it to be as hot, you can just do flannel on the front, flannel on the back, be done. And you know what? That's what I'm doing. And I will say this. While I love how structured like this, it has like a real body to it. If I lived in Michigan or Minnesota or, you know, where it's really cold, I would probably do this. But I wanted something that could be used, you know, like more throughout the year. I'm going to sneeze in this video. I just know it. So I took Becky's advice, and I'm just doing, because what I did realize is that this, like when it's done and it's washed and it's ragged, it's going to be like just a comfy blanket. And that's what I want. something soft. So that's what we're going to do today. So I have most of the squares cut out, but not all of them because I only had 2 yards of each. I have so many things to talk about. Like I've piled up all these things I want to mention today on the video. So hang on to your, man, is my tushy happy. I am sitting in my Arrow chair. Can you see it? It's fantastic. It is fantastic. My back doesn't hurt because the back of the chair, I know this is such a flattering angle of me. The back of the chair, you know, it's low. And when my grandmother used to have her sewing factory, all of her chairs, the backs of the chairs were low. And I remember thinking, well, I don't understand how that's comfortable, but what do I know? I'm a kid. And it's because the back of the chair is right like at your lumbar without having to have like something you pump up or, you know, whatever. It's just right at the back. And so it really keeps you, amazingly enough, like I find myself sitting way better than I did when I had an office chair. So a huge shout out to Arrow, and they emailed me. I have to respond to their email this week just because I got so busy I forgot. And such a sweet email and such a fantastic chair. We'll have the link in the description. I have to remember to tell Steve to put the link in the description. I should make myself a note. Because let me tell you what happens. I say something in the video and I'm like, oh, we'll put the link in the description. And then Steve does the editing and he's like, what? Yeah, I know. Okay, so Arrow link in description. Okay, and then I need bread and milk. Sorry, if I don't write it down. We won't have any bread or milk. I think that was all I needed. Okay, so we'll put that list there. Here's the other thing that I'm really bad about, and I don't know if you are, but I am really bad about it, is like I will come across something or use something like this seam ripper or, you know, my little clipper things, which, by the way, I have to tell you, this little pair of clippers, first of all, I don't like either one of my clippers. One is by Eagle. Oh, they're both by Eagle. I think they're both by Eagle because this one has an eagle on it. And this one, no offense to Eagle people. But here's the problem with this one. The problem with this one is the way, my grandmother used to have clippers. I mean, I grew up with clippers. That's what we call these, clippers. And the ones that she had, first of all, there wasn't this like, there's like these really sharp corners on this, relatively sharp corners on this metal, and hers were more like tubular, you know, like a thin tube, and there was a little hole, like a finger notch right here where you'd slip your finger through, and that was awesome for a couple of reasons. The first was when you went to clip something, you didn't have to have your whole hand in it. I have big hands, and this thing is too tiny for me. That's the first problem. It's too tiny. So when I go to clip something, I have to have my whole hand around it. And the first thing I do when I go to clip is I catch either my finger in this center thing right here. I'm going to do like they do on social media. You ready? Okay, like right there. You know how they hold their hand? Can you see it now? If there's one thing I hate. Anyway, so I end up getting my, you know, it pinches my fingers. The fat of your fingers, it pinches your fingers in there. So these, oh, I hate them. And I always end up picking them up because there's always something to clip. Anyway, these are the other ones I have. These black ones that also say Eagle on them. I need glasses. Anyway, these aren't as bad because the metal on the side is a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit thicker, and there's not as many little moving parts. There's so many. This is like a two-piece design, and so it's screwed together down here, and then you know, and it just, there's so many opportunities for you to clip your fingers. So these are a no. I'm sorry. The eagle ones, these are an absolute no. These are okay, but they just don't feel like they fit me all that well. I have to call my mom and ask her if she has any more of my grandmother's clippers, because hers were so, again, it had that little finger loop on it. So like she would, if she was doing a bunch of like piecework sewing, or she was doing a bunch of trimming, she would just leave them on her finger, and you could still, like, she wasn't constantly putting them down, picking them up. So that, I gotta find me a pair. If you know of like an old school pair of clippers that has the little notch on it, just like a little finger loop here, that's what I want. Back to my original point, which was, I'm trying to be a little bit better right now because I've got to get this room better under control. I just can't. Because we have an announcement. I've been telling you about this announcement. We're going to make the announcement this coming week. And it will start the middle of this month. And you're going to love it. I think you're going to love it. You're either going to love it or I'm going to lose my mind. So I'm trying to get better at only touching stuff once, right? Like if you see it, put it away. That's my mom's motto, right? Instead, I end up with, like, I use the clippers and then I put them down here and then they get covered by something and then I need clippers again. So then I go hunting in the drawer for another pair of clippers and pretty soon there's 17 pairs of clippers out. I think I might have had a little too much sugar today, although I didn't really have much sugar. But I've been doubling up on my vitamins. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just a little wound up. Okay, so I'm trying to put stuff. Oh. Talk amongst yourself. I'll be right back. See, like, here's another thing. This pen was on the floor. It's been on the floor. I've been looking for it for a week. So it's been at least a week on the floor. And I'm not like that. But I tell you what, man, my office and my sewing room are just, they are my arch nemesis. They are my alter personality. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's my true personality. Maybe I'm not really as tidy as I think I am. Okay, whatever. Let's not do the psychoanalysis for today. So, as I'm working today, I'm trying to put stuff away. So as we talk about stuff, that's what we're going to do. We're going to sew some more of these 8-inch flannel squares because I want to finish. It's going to be a quick quilt. It's just, and then we're going to rag it. And I haven't done a rag one in a while. And none of the rag quilts that I've ever done have I ever kept. I always end up giving them away. I did them for like my nephews and my nieces. And I really wanted one. I wanted one something cozy. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, now moving along. So let's put these over here. What's the best way to do this? Okay, the best way to do this is to talk about the next thing on my pile, and then I'll have room for the squares. Do you see these two fabrics? And I think I bought them at Bywater Fabric. Bywater, the A has two little dots above it. Bywater Fabric, Diane Rutherford, bywaterfabric.com. Thank you so very much for your order. Blah, blah, blah. Blessings, Diana. I don't know when I bought this. It was a while ago. But I think I bought this fabric from Bywater Fabric. This sounds so unfamiliar. I have no idea how I even found her. However, we're going to put that in the drawer because look at this beautiful fabric. And I came across it today and I was like, oh, I must be in some sort of, maybe it's springtime. I have some butterfly obsession going on right now. So look at this. Look at that. Is that so pretty? Look at how pretty they are. And there's just a little bit, like this bronzy color right here is a little bit metallic. And then the part of these little streaks that are going through the green, there's a little twinge of some bronzy metallic in there. This is just stunning. It's so beautiful. I love it. And then I was smart enough to get this, which is like a totally coordinating fabric. Like it's the right colors. I'm gonna guess, if I was a betting woman, that it's from the same line, you know, the same color, the same fabric line. And look how pretty that's going to be. We could do like a purple, you know, sashing in between. I forget what they call, my brain is just gone. Whatever they call that sashing, you know, in between. Somebody will put it in the comments because I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, and then I was looking, I've got to find it. I'm sure we could do something really creative. I found a couple of fabrics that I think this would be really, patterns that I think this would be really pretty with. And so I pulled it out and I was so excited. And guess how much I have of each one? A yard. I have 1 yard. Well, what? Was it $90 a yard that I didn't just go ahead and grab a couple of yards? I bought 1 yard. 1 yard. Angela. Man, I tell you what. My grandmother's rolling over in her grave. The quilt police are going to come for me. They've got all these fabrics. A yard. So I don't know what we're going to do with that. I think I'm going to have to go back on her website and see if, God willing, she has more of it so that I can get more, because I think that's just so, like the purples and the greens, it's not in my normal wheelhouse. Like I'm kind of a blue person, but that is so beautiful. Like the purples and the greens and that bronziness. I'm excited to find something to do with that so that we can have another project that we start but don't finish. Okay, anyway. Those have to go out with me because they have to be sharpened. These are some patterns that I just have to get stapled together. So we're not going to worry about those today. Oh, the rest of this is not for you guys. This is just stuff that I got to put away. Okay? And got to find this chicken fabric because I want to do that project. Okay, we'll just leave those there. All right, now, moving along. When I did the petals quilt, you know, when I did the layout, and I was doing the stencils and things on this heat and bond, you know, you end up with more, flower circles, flower centers than you actually need, because of the way that the fabrics all work together. So, I have now 11 or 12 of these centers that, because the fabric was so cute, I don't really want to get rid of, but I don't know what to do with them. So I'm open for suggestions as to what to do. I can sit up straight. What to do with these circles. So if you have any ideas, I'm in. Leave me a message in the comments. The pillows, I'm trying to start on the pillows. The pillows were supposed to be Christmas. But I didn't say which Christmas. If I hedge my bets right, and I actually got my button gear, I could probably make them birthday gifts. Maybe we'll shoot for that. Let's shoot for that. Okay, now, the other thing that we're going to do is, I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you guys. So this was supposed to be, what size is this? Shamrock pattern. Here's a quick and easy pattern for you to make for St. Patrick's Day, blah, blah, blah. It can be a simple and small quilt with just 1 shamrock, or you could do 4 and make it like a wall hanging, which I'm kind of leaning towards a wall hanging. Or maybe I'll just do 2. I have this one area in my entryway that is just enough space for something. Sometimes I have kind of a long sign, like a welcome or a happy holiday or whatever it is. But it's just a small, it's like a column, you know, right in our entryway, and it's a square column. And I've got one of those 3M hook things on there. And so I was thinking, oh, instead of doing something wide like a wall hanging, you know, like a square wall hanging, I could do, maybe I'll do 2 shamrocks and do it, for there. Here's the problem. It calls out for these things to be 2-inch squares. So, you will need to cut 20 green 2-inch squares and then 20 cream or 12 cream 2-inch squares. And 2-inch unfinished half square triangles. 2-inch, so they should be 2 inches when they're unfinished half square triangles. Lots of chatter today, okay? I'm gonna sew in a minute, but don't come for me. Don't leave me in the comments. Why don't you start sewing? Because I've got to get through, I need your help on these things. Okay. Here's the problem, is they keep saying 2-inch, 2-inch, 2-inch. But they want you to start with 2-inch squares. You can't finish with 2-inch squares if you start with 2-inch squares. I gotta be honest with you. This is not a really good pattern. And I am so untrained to evaluate patterns, but this is why I didn't finish this last year. And here's the real bummer. Now I have all these 2-inch. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the rub. All the squares are 2 inches, and I bought this beautiful, I mean, it's like, I'm even impressed with myself that I didn't go with something a little bit more corny or cutesy or kiddish. I did this really pretty, look, it's this batik. And then I did this batik. It's these little dots. By the way, I'm not getting a whole lot right now. I'm not going to end up getting a whole lot anyway. Let's be honest. With the price of eggs right now, ain't nobody buying a whole lot of fabric. But I am going to wait just a little bit because there's some fabrics that I want to splurge on, or like that I would buy more than a yard. I know. At Joann's, but right now they're at 20% and it's just not in my budget to spend to go in and buy like a whole bunch of fabric. But I wanted to kind of have, here's what I have to do. I want to go in and get some fabrics that are more pattern type, kind of basic pattern things, simple pattern things that can be used as like background fabrics and accent fabrics and you know, the other side of like a half square triangle or stuff like that. Because I don't know about you, but I have a tendency sometimes to get so much stuff that is like a pattern or it's a holiday or whatever, and I don't have any, then I don't have anything to coordinate with it, right? So I'm really hoping to kind of stock up a little bit, even though it's just, it's breaking my heart. I don't even want to talk about Joann's right now. It's just breaking my heart. I don't know who else has all that fabric and all that craft stuff in one place? Who? Nobody. Who sells fabric? I'm just, never mind. Okay, so the reason I stopped working on this, I'll tell you, and maybe some of you can look at this and tell me what's going on, is I started working on this quilt and then I got so frustrated that I just put it down, and I was like, I shoved it all into a Ziploc bag and I was like, I'll just see you during some St. Patrick's Day. So these were 2-inch squares. This, and they all have 1/4-inch seams. Look how big this one is right here. And I'm pulling it taut. And then look at the size of this one. This one, how did this square end up so much smaller than its sister square right next door? I'm gonna measure this square. I'm gonna pull the seams, okay? Lay the seams down, okay? Da-da, da-da. 2 inches, right? 1/4-inch seam on either side. Then I lay this one down, right? The one that's bigger. It's literally, it's not even a quarter, it's not even an 1/8 of an inch. It's not even an 1/8 of an inch bigger. Okay, so it's just, in fact, now that I'm really lining it up, It's like a 1/16 of an inch bigger. But when you look at it on here, it just doesn't, I'm not doing something right. I don't know what it is, but I'm not doing something right. And it's really, this was supposed to be such a cute, like literally every year at St. Patrick's Day, I end up working on this little stupid wall hanging with these shamrocks on it because I love the fabrics. I love the fabrics that I chose. And I have all these silly squares cut out. But then what happened was, it wants you to take 2-inch squares and make half square triangles. You'll also need to make 12 green and cream 2-inch unfinished half square triangles. So they're supposed to be 2 inches when they're unfinished. I don't understand what that means. So before I finish them, what does that mean? Really? Because look, here's what happens. Here's a 2-inch square on the back. See this thing I'm flapping? This is a 2-inch square, right, in the green. Then I take the half square triangle. Look, it's not, it's at least, it's easily a 1/4 inch all the way around, smaller. Talking about this stupid quilt wall hanging thing, it makes my eyes turn. I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. So maybe some of you could, the pattern is by woodenspools.com, Shamrock Pattern by Phyllis Stewart. Woodstock spool. Woodenspools.com / Shamrock Pattern blog by Phyllis Stewart. Phyllis, you twisted me up, girl. You done twisted me up. Shoving it back in the bag. Just shoving it back in the bag. I need this kind of grief in my life over a couple of shamrocks. I'll finish it next week. Okay, so let's sew. And usually, when you guys come over to sew, I try and like get into my sewing and chat while we're sewing. But I wanted to show you these different things, and I couldn't do that and sew at the same time. So now I'm just gonna take. We're just gonna piece today. That's all we're gonna do. That's all we're doing. We're just building the rag. Building the rag. So I'm just sewing an X. So my 8-inch squares. And the reason I did 8-inch squares, for those of you that have never done a rag quilt or don't know what it is, instead of sewing the fabrics right sides together, so, on a regular fabric, you sew the squares right sides, take the right sides, you sew them together, and when you open them up, the seam is hidden. The seam is on the back. With a rag quilt, you can also Google it. When you sew your squares together, you sew the squares wrong side together. So you put the wrong sides, the backs together, and then you sew a 1/2-inch seam, bigger seam. And then when you open it up, the seam is on the outside. And you're gonna make little tiny cuts all along that exposed seam. Then you wash it a couple of times in the washing machine, and ta-da! It's this fuzzy, really cool look quilt. And they're fantastic for like kids quilts, and I think they're really fun for kids quilts because you get that flannel, you can do them smaller, and they're just so cuddly and cozy, and every time you wash them they get more and more cuddly and more cozy. But I wanted this one. I'll tell you later who this one's for. This one I'm gonna end up putting it, I think, in my guest room, so that when my mom comes to visit, she'll have this nice cozy, right? Yeah. She'll have this nice cozy flannel blanket on her bed. Oh, so I did go to, I went to Joann's last night, and I'd only originally bought 2 yards of the butterfly and 2 yards of the butterfly, 2 yards of the purple. And so I did go back and get another 2 yards. I don't know that I'm going to make it a 4-yard blanket, but we'll see once we lay it out. We're not, one lady that I was talking to when I was trying to decide how much fabric I wanted, she, I keep thinking yarn because I'm itching to do a little bit of crochet. Do y'all crochet? I do crochet. Or knit? I don't knit. And I have found in the people that I've spoken to that people who crochet don't tend to knit. Now, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong and you do both, I'm wrong. But I find that people who crochet don't tend to knit, and people who knit don't tend to crochet. And I think it's because your brain just... When it comes... Like for me, trying to use 2 needles, my brain just doesn't know what to do with itself. I crochet, I only use 1 needle. That's how I do it. That's how I roll. I only use 1 needle. That's it. My mom crocheted. My grandmother didn't crochet. But we're a 1 needle family. Some people are a 2 needle family. We're a 1 needle family. We're crocheters. That was not what we were talking about. Anyway, so I got 2 more yards of this fabric. I have to make sure my battery doesn't run out. I got 2 more yards of each of these. And the woman at the store was saying, because I was asking her, gosh, should I get another yard? You know, is it going to be enough? Blah, blah, blah. And she said, you know, I'm kind of the wrong person to ask because, like, everybody in her family is, like bigger, they're bigger proportioned. You know, she said, like, her son is, like, 6'6" or 6'7". Can you imagine? How tall? And so she was like, I have to make all of my quilts and blankets, like, crazy big, otherwise they don't cover his feet. So I was like, well, my mom is like 5'3", and she's 100 pounds soaking wet, so I don't necessarily have to deal with that. But by the same token, I don't want it to be a baby quilt size. So, okay, so for those of you that have never made a rag quilt, don't have any clue what I'm talking about, you don't really quilt a rag quilt. I suppose you could, but you don't, you know, it's not typical. But you go through each of put your front and your back panel together, square together, and then you just sew an X across the front and the back. Helps keep it together. So one day last week, I came in and I just spent like a half hour cutting 8-inch squares of this. Okay, what else do we want to talk about? In the background, can you see this? I hung it. Can you see? Still sewing. No hands, no eyes on the machine. I'm still sewing. This panel back here, okay, it's supposed to be like Aurora Borealis. And I think it's like an Alaskan scene because I think it's trees. And then it's all purples and greens, and it's really, really pretty. I have 2 of the panels, so the panel is repeated twice on there, right? I don't remember why I bought it. I don't remember where I bought it. So, what I want to know is, what would you do with it? Now, mind you, me being me, I only have 2. So I couldn't do, I mean, of course, I don't know that you want to quilt with, you know, 8 of these scenes in it. I think part of the way to make the scenes stand out is to I have something else going on around the quilt. But I don't have, for the life of me, like, I'm just kind of drawing a blank. I really don't know what I want to do with it. I have no quilt pattern or anything for it. That's the other thing, is I have a lot of great panels. I don't know what to do with them. I guess I need to just watch some more inspo videos. And how trendy was that? Some more inspo videos over on the Pinterest. Man, do you just hate it when you start picking up the lingo? And some of the lingo just sounds, it just sounds kind of corny. Sorry, it does. Inspo. Just watch some more inspo this afternoon. Okay. You mean inspiration? You'll watch some videos to give you some inspiration? Is that what you're gonna do? Yeah, that's what you're gonna do. Inspo. Anyway, so maybe I'll go over to the Insta or the Pinterest and get some. But if you have some ideas, I'd love to hear them, because I trust you guys way more than I do the, you know, the inspo stuff. So I need something to go with that. It's very, very pretty, but I want, and I have two, so I don't know if I should use two or do two different things, or I don't know. I got nothing. I got nothing in my brain on that one, because honestly, I have no recollection of buying them. And none whatsoever. Maybe somebody accidentally put them into my bag 2 years ago. I have no idea. I just have no idea. So anyway, what are you sewing? What are you doing this weekend? What'd you do this weekend? We are... Did you bet Gene Hackman? He was such a good actor. I mean, he was 95, so he was, you know, didn't die in his prime, but how sad. How sad to go that way, and wow. And he was just such a fantastic actor. I just loved all his movies. He really hadn't done anything in a long, long time. He really was retired. I thought he was fantastic, and I'm really sad to see him go. So this afternoon, when Steve's done in the yard and I'm done sewing squares together, I think we're gonna make some popcorn and actually just put on a movie, plop on the couch, and just take 2 hours and relax, because we just never do that. I don't know if you're like that, but I don't know if you find that when the weekend comes, like, it's not that we're going out and doing a lot of things, like out, you know, running all over town, or, you know, it's just that there's always so much to do around the house and projects and the yard, and he loves to be in the yard working on stuff, but he gets tired, you know, it's a lot. So, okay, Angela rambles. What are you sewing? What are you working on? Do you have a project you're working on? Do you have a project that involves the Aurora Borealis and maybe some panels that you could help me with? No idea what to do with those. So I'm gonna sew some of these. We're gonna watch a movie and try not to overdo it tonight, because then what happens is we go to work on Monday. I go to our offices on Monday in the house, and we're just wiped because we've just tried to do too much. Anyway, thank you for all of the suggestions for the how to baste that one quilt that I'm getting ready to finish. I do have one question, so if you could leave me answers in the comments. For those of you that use, I haven't decided if I want to try the 505 spray, which looks fantastic. It's a little pricey, but I'm sure it lasts forever. I mean, how many quilts do you actually complete in a year? Rephrased, how many quilts do I actually complete in a year? I'm guessing that the spray would probably last me 5 years. Anyway. Is that you use the Elmer's glue, and I cannot tell you how many people are like, Elmer's glue, I just use Elmer's glue, I use Elmer's glue to blaze, I've never had a problem, blah, blah, blah. So I'm good with that. But my question is, what do you do? Do you just like some little dots around, or do you somehow mix it and spray it? I'm guessing you don't mix it and spray it. I'm probably overthinking that way too much. Do you like mix, do you like put some down, smooth that part, move on? So I'm curious, tell me how you do that, how you baste your quilt with the whatchamacallit, Elmer's glue. And now, okay, what else? I dealt with the Aurora Borealis stuff. I dealt with the shamrock thing. That shamrock thing, I tell you what, it's frying me. It's absolutely frying me. I think I'm gonna have to go on. If you want my honest opinion on that, I think what I need to do, and I don't even know if it's possible now because I've cut so many of those darn 2-inch squares, is I think that the squares were supposed to be 2.5 inches to start. And I think, I'm guessing, if I were a guessing woman, I would say that they're supposed to be 2 inches finished. Like, you want 2-inch squares, and then you start with 2.5-inch squares to make your half square triangles, and then you end up with 2-inch squares. That's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that the measurements are in there are wrong. Other than that, the only other option is I'm a moron and I don't know what I'm reading, and I'm getting it so wrong and so twisted, and I just can't see the forest for the trees. I don't think that's it, but you never do know. Okay? All right. What else? I think that's really it for today. I'm going to sew some more of these. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever is left of it. If you see this and it's really, really late, you know, go do something fun or go do something good for yourself. Like have a nice, really warm cup of tea and grab one of your favorite blankets or your favorite books. Oh, The Covenant of Water. It's getting good. It's good. It's a good book. It's a good saga book. You know, it's one of those, you know, it just covers many different years and all kinds of different, you know, anyway, it's really, really good. If you've read, what was the other one I read that was kind of similar? Age of Vices. So the name of the book is Age of Vices. I don't remember who the author is off the top of my head, and I don't want to stop right now to pull it up. But maybe I'll reference it in a short this week. But the book is called The Age of Vices, and it's set in India. And it's another, if you like those kind of saga, you know, it's a long book, but I thought it was really, really, really good. And I can tell you right now that this X that I just sewed is so... Okay, so it crosses, you can see it better back here. Look how low it crosses. Like it crosses way down here, and there's like this swooping... Here's my rule, and it's kind of a take on what something Jenny at Missouri Star Quilt said years ago in her videos. Shout out to Missouri Star, to Jenny at Missouri Star. And it basically was, if you stand back and you look at your project and you can't see the mistake or it doesn't bother you, then it's okay. It's good. Move on. And I kind of took it one step further. You know, if somebody's going to walk up to your quilt and look close enough to find all of your little mistakes and then comment on them or think poorly of you because of the mistakes in your quilts, it's not a really good friend, is it? I mean, you know, unless you're entering it into like the state fair or something or a quilt show. I mean, then, you know, you gotta be really on your game. But I want to enjoy quilting and I want to enjoy sewing. And what I really, really enjoy is having you come and sit and talk with me while I quilt. And so, you know, brainstorm about these different projects. And so I hope you enjoyed coming over today. I'm really excited about some of these projects that we're going to do. Our announcement is going to be done this week. So you guys will finally, we'll have that put to bed. And the project is going to start later on this month. It will start the middle of the month. And I'm so excited. I'm a little scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little scared. But I'm so, so excited to start it because I think it's going to be fun. I think we're all going to really have fun. And here's a little hint. I might get to see more of you. Do you know what it is yet? No, you probably don't because that's a really lame clue. But that's okay. Anyway, I think that's it. Go get your project. Don't forget, we'll put the link for the arrow chair in the description. I am loving this. Like, my legs don't bother me. My fanny doesn't bother me. My back's not bothering me. I don't feel so, you know, I used to just be so in an awkward position when I would sew, and now I don't feel that way. And so it's well 110% worth the Arrow chair. I think that's all for today. I love you guys. And remember, only a 1/4 inch seam. I love you guys. Have a great week. And I'll see you in a couple of days. Bye.